Wow. I'm watching an old, it's not too old, but it's a little bit old. Yeah, back in 2010, Corey Anton apparently has been going back and forth with Gary, I forget Gary's screen name, about bunches of different stuff. So I found this video having to do with determinism, and I just wanted to jump in. In the presentation, it sounds as if Professor Anton subscribes to somewhat of a determinism that exists based on our ability to accomplish certain things, put a man on the moon, whatever. And it seems to me, the way I like to look at it sometimes, is that determinism comes out of a paradigm that is evoked by cause and effect. That once cause and effect is assumed to be the case, it's easy to fall into the realm of determinism. So the given, the axiom is cause and effect exists, therefore determinism exists at some level. I can accept that. I can subscribe to that kind of a paradigm, but I don't think that's the only paradigm in town. It's a tool, it's a way of looking at things. From among my Taoist perspectives, if there is determinism, there is also non-determinism. They arise mutually. One might follow the other in a manner of looking at things to say, oh, free will grew out of a deterministic universe situation. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It's a way of looking at things. By the same token, if I say free will exists, on the one hand, then not free will exists also on the other hand, and the various levels can get all mixed up. Another mention was made about language, and somebody said that what a thing is said to be, it is not. I'm reminded how, I think it was Watts said, we can't say what a thing is. We say what a thing is like. We talk about a thing, and a thing is a think. We use metaphor. I think Professor Pinker, is that his name? Steven Pinker, got into analogy and metaphor. Language is very fascinating to me also. Let me go ahead and watch some more of this video. Okay, the R word and the T word. Reality, it seems to me that's a word, and to reify it, to think it's a thing other than a word, people mean to point to something when they say reality, that once that meaning has been gotten across, a la Chuang-Tzu, then the word has served its purpose. But to think that reality exists, that's a funny kind of a thought. And even the truth, I like the truth, I love the truth, with a capital T or even a small t, but to begin with, it's a word, and so the word has meaning. And what do we mean when we use the word? To think that there is something out there that is the truth that we're trying to get at, that's kind of a funny situation. About 6 minutes into this video, and Corey is still talking about Gary, and I guess there's this problem with the word machine. I see the machine model, the mechanistic model, the paradigm, as being a paradigm, and to say, oh, there's a computational way of looking at the world, or a holographic way of looking at the world. These are ways of looking at the world, and they might be of some use, or it might just be, again, the utility of the useless. Why are we doing this? Why are we talking, spouting, spewing, conversing, other than to converse? To think that we're getting somewhere, we're making progress, we're gonna fix the world. Yeah, we can try that. Wow, here's a great fact. A little over 6 minutes. Corey says, fact number one: there has never been a human independent of the cosmos. Okay, that's a good one. I like the one that suggests that there has been a cosmos independent of humans. I might like to say that's a hypothetical, that we assume that we don't exist when we look back at the fossil record and out into the cosmos, the galaxies, speeding away from each other, back in time. But still, we're here doing that. To assume that we're not here doing that, and it existed before we existed, that's a peculiar kind of a move to make. It's a good gambit. I'll grant that. Okay, I'm almost 12 minutes into this video, An Impossible, Unspeakable, Not to be Experienced Determinism. Corey's talking about moral statements, moral judgments, something about morality as being polar. It's a strange kind of thing to me, thinking about ontology and real and what is reality, that it also evokes what is it to be unreal? You know, kind of like the human dilemma as contrasted with nature, the artificiality of humanity, to think that it's unnatural. These distinctions, well, if something is not real, what does that mean? It's imaginary? Or do we want to say everything is real, even the imaginary is real? Yeah, there's lots of lots of lines, lots of gray areas. This is fun stuff. This idea of freedom or free will that gets smuggled into language unconsciously or inadvertently. Sometimes I look at it as if from the inside out we have the feeling that we are free because we can make these choices, and we feel like we're making a free choice. From the outside in, from a bioneurological point of view, if it could be determined that no, what was thought to be a choice, well, there have been experiments showing that no, the choice was made before we even knew we made the choice. But that's looking from the outside in. So the way I see it sometimes is from the inside out, we're free. From the outside in, perhaps what we think and say and do can be determined that it's determined. And so these two views arise mutually, and they depend on each other, and they play off of each other. And that's part of what makes it so interesting, is to flip back and forth from these various views to assume one is right, one is wrong, they're both right, they're both wrong. It's fun. It's fun for me. A view is a view is a view. A map is a map. To think that one view, that the truth could ever be spoken or put in words, or some equation could capture it all, that these views there, Corey didn't talk about the impossible, unspeakable, not to be experienced in this video, but it's a funny thing. It almost seems as though there's a desire to capture in words that which can't be captured in words by the very nature of words and how they do delimit and chop and divide. It's kind of bizarre, the project of philosophy, if not just to spout words. It's I think maybe sometimes people take themselves too seriously, that I become so involved in the words and forget about the game, the conversation, the conversinging that's going on for the going on of the going on, and to think it means something else over and above. That's an interesting situation. Even to say the universe did not intend to create people, or the cosmos or God did intend in some way to create people, or there's this teleological process of consciousness becoming aware of itself. All these different views, they might work, they might mean something, they might tickle a neuron or two, but aside from that, Chuang Tzu said, are they really other than the peeps of baby birds? And he asks a question. It's a good question, and that's the stuff rhetoric is made of. So to wrap this up, this is the longest I've gone on. I want to say thanks again to Professor Anton for throwing up all of his videos. It encouraged me to throw up all these words, and regurgitation isn't always all bad. It's, hey, I'll leave it at that.